Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to one and all. Welcome back to another lecture of OCM. We are studying the last topic of chapter number 4, that is business services. We have studied all the business services like transportation, communication, insurance, warehousing, and banking. This is the fifth business services and the most important of all business services that we have studied. Under banking, we have studied what do you mean by bank. A bank is a financial institution which deals with deposits and advances and other related services. Basically, what is the purpose of banking? Accepting for the purpose of main function of banks is accepting deposits for the purpose of lending. What do you mean by that? By that we mean that if you are an individual and you want to save your money, you go to the bank and you deposit your money into the bank, and you have your money safe with the banks. You do not have risk of theft or anything if you have saved your money with the bank, and you can withdraw that money at any time. There are various types of banks that we have studied, such as central bank. The Central Bank of India is the Reserve Bank of India, which is the apex monetary authority. Then we have studied about commercial banks. We have studied about specialized banks, exchange banks, industrial banks, regional rural banks, etc. The very important type of bank that we have studied is commercial bank, and we have also studied about various functions of commercial bank. In the previous lecture, we studied about the primary functions of commercial bank, which were divided into two: accepting deposits and granting loans. Accepting deposits means to accept money from the people, which was again divided into time deposit and demand deposit, which included fixed deposit, recurring deposit, and other section which included saving account, current account. Then we also studied about granting loans and advances. There is a slight difference between loans and advances, short term and long term. Then under that we have studied overdraft facility, cash credit facility, and other types of short term, medium term, and long term loans. Today we are going to study about various secondary functions of bank. What are the secondary functions of bank? Functions which are apart from the core functions, functions which are not directly related. That is, main function of bank is accepting deposit and granting loan. But what are the extra services that a bank provide to its customer? That comes under secondary functions. Under secondary function, we have agency function and utility functions. Agency function, under agency function, a bank act as an agent or a representative of its customer or client and performs various activities. That means if your bank represent you or does any payment on behalf of you or receive any payment on behalf of you, act as an agent of your account, then it is called as agency functions. And utility function means a commercial bank performs utility functions for the benefits of its clients and provides certain facilities, which we'll be studying later. What are the basic agency functions? The very first agency function is periodic collection and payment. Collection and payment. By that we understand a bank collects money on behalf of its client and customers. Also, a bank pay money or make any payment on behalf of its customers and clients. Okay, commercial bank collects salaries, dividends, interest, and any other income on behalf of the customer. For example, you are working in an organization, you open up a salary account. Your salary is collected automatically by your bank. You don't have to go every time and collect it. The bank will automatically enter it into your account, credit it to your account. Whereas other, if you have taken investment, if you have shares of certain company, your timely dividends will be collected by bank. If you have given certain debt or certain loan to any other party, your interest will be collected directly by the bank. Similarly, the bank will also make certain payments on your behalf. There may be you are having a business, and you are not able to manage everything properly, like you are not able to make timely payments because you forget things, or you are not able to manage time. So you instruct your bank that after every month make certain payments to certain clients, like for example payment of electricity bill, payment of taxes, payment of insurance premiums, or payment of rents. This will be done automatically by the bank on your behalf. What is bank doing? Bank is acting as your representative. Bank is acting as an agent of your of the customer, and making payments on behalf of the customer on the standing instructions of the customer. Okay, but bank does not do this for free. They make certain charges. Bank charges are applied to your account on providing various agency functions. These charges are fixed either quarterly or annually. Like after 3 months you have to make certain bank charges, or yearly you have to make certain bank charges for providing such services by the bank. So what is the first function, agency function? Periodic collection and payment on behalf of the customer. Second is portfolio management. Large commercial banks undertake to purchase and to sell securities such as shares, bonds, debentures, etc. on behalf of the clients. You don't have to get into the hassle of selling or buying shares and debentures and everything. Your bank is doing this on your behalf, and your bank have a proper knowledge about the market condition of the company for which you basically what you do is you suggest your bank that we want to make investment into shares and debentures, and you make a ratio of it, for example 2:1. You say that I want to have a debt equity ratio 2:1 and I want to make investment. So the bank will manage your portfolio in the most specific form and in the best possible way, in the best possible organization. So this bank is doing on behalf of its customers. This is basically handling of securities by bank. That is known as portfolio management. This is one of the most important agency function which attracts most of the customers towards commercial banks. Okay, the third agency function that we'll be studying is fund transfer. Commercial banks provide facility of fund transfer from one branch to another branch of or branch of another bank. Commercial banks come with various initiatives to make this transfer hassle free. Transfer of money from one place to another used to take a lot of time in the previous era, where people have to physically withdraw money from one bank and then have to deposit into another bank if they have two separate accounts. But these days banks are providing easy fund transfer. They are having various facilities such as IMPS, RTGS, NEFT, which facilitates immediate transfer of funds from one account to another account, or from one bank to another bank, of one country to another country. Anything is possible with the help of commercial banks. These days fund transfer has become very easy, either domestically, nationally, or internationally. Dematerialization. Banks provide dematerialization facilities to their clients to hold the securities in an electronic format. Yes, on behalf of clients, it undertakes the electronic transfer of shares in case of purchase or sale. As we all know that shares used to come into physical forms previously. There were physical share certificates, share warrants issued to the customers, and people used to hold those share certificates in lockers, and at the time of redemption they used to remove that paper and then show it to the company for receiving their money back. But these days, due to electronic transformation, due to dematerialization, shares are present in electronic form, and that is people held electronic share certificates. They do not have to physically store share certificates. So banks also provide the facilities of dematerialization and hold, like we studied about portfolio management, wherein bank purchases and sells securities on behalf of the customers. So similarly, the bank also hold their securities in electronic form with themselves, and receive dividends on behalf of the customers, and also sells or purchase shares on behalf of their clients in the electronic form. Next agency function is forex transaction. Forex means foreign exchange, that will be related to two different countries. It is an abbreviation for foreign exchange. We know that a bank may purchase or sell foreign exchange on behalf of its clients. A bank purchases forex from its clients, which the client receives from foreign transactions, and sells the forex when the client needs it for overseas transactions. True. Like for example, if you are an importer or an exporter, you are importing goods or exporting goods from a foreign country, you will definitely have to deal in foreign exchange, right? You will be receiving dollars or any other currency from your forex from your importer or exporter, which is difficult to be converted into rupees. So what you do, you'll go to your bank and you'll inform your bank that we have certain forex with us and we want to convert it into rupees. This is not a big deal for the bank. Banks will easily convert that foreign exchange, will easily convert that dollars into rupees and deposit into your account. So there is an convenience for the importer and exporter. They do not have to worry that, oh, I've got money in dollars, now what will I do? I'll go to my bank and I'll inform my bank that I want to transact foreign exchange, and my bank will then convert that dollars into rupees. Similarly, if I am going overseas and I want to use currency overseas, I'll inform my bank that I want 50,000 rupees converted into dollars. The bank will easily convert it into dollars and make me available it at any point of time wherever I require in the world. So forex transaction is another agency function that a bank performs for its clients. Okay, so these were the agency functions where the bank act as an agent. When they are converting your dollars into rupees, they are acting as an agent. When they are buying securities on your behalf, saving securities on your behalf, selling securities on your behalf, they are acting as an agent. When they are making periodic payments and receiving collections, they are acting as an agent. So periodic collections, portfolio management, dematerialization, transfer of funds, and forex transactions are types of agency functions which a commercial bank performs. Now, what are the utility functions that a commercial bank performs? Utility means the functions which can be used, extra benefits that can be used by the customers. The bank provides issue of drafts and checks. A draft or a check is an order to pay money from one branch of bank to another branch for the same bank or the other bank. A bank issues drafts to its account holders as well as non-account holders, whereas checks are issued only to the account holders. Bank charges commission for issuing a bank draft. Okay, so first we'll study about a check. We have already studied it in 11th standard. What is a check? It is a promissory note, or it is an order to pay, wherein the customer signs and says that I have ordered to pay 1000 rupees to XYZ person. This is an order to pay in a physical form. That check will be taken by your customer to the bank, and the bank will entertain that check and pass it and give XYZ that money which you have ordered to pay. We have studied that there are various types of checks such as cross check, order check, bearer check. Yes, so whatever the kind of check is basically an order to pay, wherein whenever you open a bank account, you will get a checkbook and a passbook. A passbook will be a book wherein all the entries will be mentioned: 1000 rupees removed, 2000 rupees deposited, etc. But a checkbook will be only used when you want to give somebody a promise to pay, when you want to make payment. So if I am buying goods from ABC company, I'll write a check in the name of ABC company for 10,000 rupees, and I'll sign it and give it to the ABC company. So now my customer, ABC company, will my client ABC company will go to the bank, and seller, actually not customer, will go to the bank and give that check to my bank, and my bank will transact money and cut it from my account and transact it into the account of ABC company. If it is a bearer check, the bank will give in cash money to the ABC company representative. So it is a function that a bank is performing. I don't have to go along with my ABC company with him to the bank, remove money by my hand and give it to him. No, this everything will be done by bank. I'll just have to issue a check. Similarly, there is draft. Draft is usually used for admission process or payment of certain fees. For drafts you don't need to have a bank account. For check you have to have a bank account. Draft is basically, if I want to make a bank draft, I'll go to bank, I'll deposit 10,000 rupees, give banker 10,000 rupees, and I'll say make a draft of 10,000 rupees. So here the bank will make a promissory note of 10,000 rupees saying that we have made a bank draft of rupees 10,000 rupees, which is payable to you on behalf of my customer. Okay, so they'll make a draft in the name of the person, to beneficiary to whom I want to pay the money. Like for example, if you want to take admission in KMES Junior College, so the college will ask you to make a bank draft of 10,000 rupees. You will go to the bank and you will ask the banker to make a draft of 10,000 rupees in the name of KMES Junior College. So bank will make a promissory note or a draft in the name of KMES Junior College and give it to you. This note you will have to go and deposit or submit to the KMES Junior College, and they will accept it, and your admission will be confirmed because the bank has given a draft, that is a promise to pay the money of your fees. For this, bank charges commission. Also, because they are giving you certain extra facilities, they will be charging you commission, and you may or may not have an account. That is why they are basically charging commission. For checks they don't charge commission because you are their loyal customers. Second facility, locker facility. There are other valuable things apart from money that you want to save. There are other things which are at risk of being theft or stolen. So for that, banks provide locker facility. The common utility function of any commercial bank is locker facility, wherein the safe custody of valuables, documents, gold, diamonds, pearls, ornaments, etc. are done. Third is project reports. A bank may prepare project reports and feasibility studies on behalf of the clients. Project reports enables the business firms to obtain funds from the market and to obtain clearance from government authorities. Yes, if you are a business firm and if a specific bank, say HDFC Bank, is making a project report on behalf of your company and assuring the government that this is one of the most ethical company, so the government will understand that you are a taxpayer and you are a good company, and the government will it will be easier for the government authority to analyze your transactions, and also for the customers it will be easier, for shareholders it will be easier to understand the credit standing of the company on the basis of the project reports that the bank make for business firms. Fourth is gift checks. Bank issues gift checks and gold coins to account holders as well as to non-account holders. The gift checks coins can be used by the clients for the purpose of gifting on occasions like weddings, birthdays, etc. Yes, at times people issue gift checks and coins to their friends or families on the occasions of weddings or birthdays or festivals, like for example during Diwali or Eid or any other festivals. Big companies give its employees Sodexo coupons, then they give them coupons, Diwali coupons. All these coupons and gift checks are all these coupons or things are gift checks. They are instead of money, they are giving you coupons, they are giving you gift checks, they are giving you coins. These coins can be redeemed at various places like shopping or restaurants. So it is easier for the company also, and for the customers also, and for the employees also, to redeem that money at any point of time. For example, McDonald's, KFC, they accept Sodexos. So if your company is giving you Sodexo of 100 rupees, you'll go to a McDonald's and buy a burger without paying any money. You'll have to just pay that Sodexo coupon. So that is a kind of gift check which a bank give to its customers. Underwriting services, this we studied earlier also. What we mean by underwriting services, herein the bank guarantees the business firms that if their shares or securities are not sold in the market, they will undertake them on behalf of the company, or they will underwrite them to take up or the unsubscribed portion of the securities. Yes, that is it. If the shares are not fully subscribed, if a company is hesitant to issue 5 lakh rupees shares, the bank assures that if the 5 lakh rupees shares are not subscribed fully, the unsubscribed shares will be underwritten by us. So here the business firms are not at a risk of unsubscribed capital. They want 5 lakh rupees capital, they will get 5 lakh rupees capital either from the subscribers or from the bank. Gold related services. Nowadays many banks are providing gold services to its customers. Banks are commercially buying and selling golds or ornaments from customers on large scale basis, because earlier people used to store a lot of gold and they don't have such money, so now they want to convert that gold into money. So when they go to the gold sellers, they exploit them by cutting money, making charges or anything else. So here the company individuals does not go to the gold sellers, they go to the bank. They either mortgage their gold or either sell their gold to the bank. Some banks also provide advisory services in terms of golds, funds, etc. So these were the agency functions, utility functions, which include gift checks, drafts, locker facilities, then underwriting services, etc. The last topic of the entire chapter which we are going to study today is e-banking services. E-banking stands for electronic banking. It is also called as virtual banking. Electronic means virtual. Nowadays everything has become electronic, everything has become virtual because of the conditions of the country these days. Due to the pandemic, we are all electronically dealing with each other. Right now we are also electronically connected. Like I am delivering a lecture electronically to my students. Similarly, in order to cope up with the advancement in technology and the competition in the market, banks have introduced e-banking services, that is virtual banking services. That means all the banking operations have now become computerized. There is no physical operation or very less physical operation. Everything has become computerized. Now the very first element of e-banking is ATM. It is very common and everybody is well aware about ATM. The full form of ATM is automated teller machine. Here ATMs are electronic machines which are operated by customers on their own, wherein the customers either withdraw money or deposit money. Mostly customers use ATMs to withdraw money. It can be used for other banking transactions such as balance inquiry, transferring money, and request for checkbook or bank statements. Yes, basic service of ATM is withdrawal of money. You go to ATM, you insert your card and you withdraw money. But whenever you see that ATM screen, there will be certain options like for balance inquiry, press this. For transfer of money, press this. For withdrawal of money, press this. So these are the various functions that an ATM machine provides you. Nowadays, ATM also provides facility of cash deposits. Yes, there is another section of CDM, cash deposit machines in ATMs, wherein you can also deposit cash. You don't have to go to bank and stand in queues for depositing money. For withdrawal, it has become easier, but for deposit it was still difficult. You have to go to the bank, you have to deposit money, stand in queues, wait for hours. But now ATMs also comes with cash deposit machines, wherein you can deposit your money in the ATM room itself, or you can also deposit your check in the ATMs. The second is credit card. A credit card is a payment card. It allows the cardholder to pay for different transactions that he performs. The issuing bank creates a revolving account and grants a line of credit to the customer or user. Credit card offer convenience to customer, as customer need not carry cash. Credit, by the name itself, it suggests credit means loan, a kind of debt. So a bank is giving you certain money in advance, which can be used by you for fulfilling your purposes, for shopping or for any other transactions. If you do not have money in your bank account, or if you do not have cash carried with you, you can use your credit cards and you can transact money. And one important thing over here is that for credit cards, you do not even need to have a specific bank account of that particular bank. If you have a credit card of HDFC Bank, it is not required that you have to have a bank account associated with that. It is issued to non-customers also, whereas debit card is issued only to the customers with bank accounts. So credit cards, under credit cards, you can perform various functions, you can perform various payments and transactions. You can just swipe off your card and pay, but the interest associated with credit card is very high. So in credit cards, interest keeps on increasing by the time, and also you are get into if you don't make timely payment, you will be under debt. Whereas debit card is very useful. Debit card is basically associated to your bank account, wherein as soon as you open a bank account, the account holder is given debit card and they can make debit card payments. Whenever you swipe up a debit card, the amount is deducted from your account, so it is related to your account. Whereas credit card is not related to your account. Where there you swipe it, money will be deducted from the bank and you will be liable to pay that money to the bank along with interest. Here your personal money which is deposited with the bank is deducted from your account. Some banks offer personalized debit and credit card as per the requirement of the customer. Understood the difference between debit and credit card? RTGS, real time gross settlement. RTGS stands for real time gross settlement. It is a fund transfer system where transfer of funds or money takes place from one bank to another bank on real time and on gross basis. Okay, firstly, it is real time. That means right now, like I am talking about transferring money now, my money will be transferred within 2 hours under RTGS. So I don't have to wait for days and weeks or days basically. And on gross basis, that is one to one basis, it is the fastest money transfer through the banking channel. What is real time settlement? Real time settlement means payment transaction is not subject to any waiting period. I am instructing bank to make an RTGS now. I don't have to wait for 10 other customers to make RTGS request. No, my request will be made right now and transfer of money will be made within 2 hours. That is why it is gross settlement also. There is no requirement of bundling of transactions. Bunching of gross settlement means transactions settled on one to one basis without bunching with any other transaction. So if I am instructing bank to make an RTGS of 5,000 rupees, my individual transaction on one to one basis will be done within 2 hours. So this is instant money transfer from my account to another account and without any waiting period. Okay, what is real time settlement? Transaction is not subject to any waiting period. The bank has to credit the account of the client within 2 hours. And what is gross settlement? That transactions are settled on one-to-one basis. The minimum amount to be remitted through RTGS is 2 lakhs rupees. There is no upper limit for transaction. Extremely you can go 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, that doesn't matter. But the minimum amount for RTGS is 2 lakh rupees. That is why there is a need for any another transaction system, that is NEFT. NEFT, under NEFT there is no certain limit. You can make an NEFT of 2000 rupees, 5000 rupees, 10,000 rupees. But for RTGS you have to have a minimum amount of 2 lakh rupees transaction. Okay, now what is NEFT? NEFT stands for National Electronic Fund Transfer. Here also funds are getting transferred nationally and electronically through computers. You don't have to physically transfer it. Also here the money is transferred from one account to another account. Also there is a difference between NEFT and RTGS. Here there is a bundling of transactions, bunching of transactions, settlements. There is a specific time for NEFT. NEFT is done only between 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. on all working days of the week. So if you are requesting for NEFT, then the banks have specific quotas like quarter, hourly or half hourly basis. So in the bank will wait for half hour and bunch all the NEFTs and make transactions for NEFT together. They will not make your alone NEFT. Like RTGS, if you are making one request, your RTGS is successful at that point of time itself. But for NEFT, you have to wait for a half an hour or whatever the bank have rules regarding it, and then it will be bunched and it will be transacted together. Okay, so basically NEFT stands for National Electronic Fund Transfer. Under this system, funds are transferred electronically from one branch to another in the country. The client has to give details of NEFT code of branch and account number of the beneficiary whom you want to transfer the money. Okay, and it is done only during particular working hours and on a half hourly basis. There are 24 half hourly basis settlement batches from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. on all working days. It is an example. Like agar, if my bank have a basic of half hourly basis NEFT, so I am working from morning 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. NEFT. So there are 12 hours, so there will be 24 half hour settlement. So whenever the NEFT comes, after half hour NEFT is transacted. And the difference between RTGS and NEFT is that it is for small amount and RTGS only starts after 2 lakh rupees. The last 2 points of e-banking is net banking, mobile banking and IMPS facilities. Net banking and mobile banking, we are all very much aware about it. The internet banking services, it enables the client to check various transactions, facilitate payments of various things. You can do online shopping, you can do online payment, you can pay your electricity bills, you can buy computers, laptops, or you can buy clothings, you can sell your products online through internet banking. And mobile banking is similar to that, but it is operated on mobile, and internet banking is operated through computers, laptops and other gadgets. So mobile banking refers to use of banking services with the help of mobile phones, wherein every bank now have a separate mobile app which can be used in the mobile. The client registers with the bank and get a unique code of transaction, and the client can perform various transactions such as request for balances, transfer of funds, stop payment, issue of check. Everything is at your fingertips in your mobile. What is the last thing? IMPS. IMPS stands for Immediate Payment Services. This facility allows customers to instantly transfer funds to any other bank account within minutes. If I am saying IMPS, it is happening right now. I don't have to wait like NEFT for a half hour or for RTGS for 2 hours, and there is no certain limits on amount also. If I am making an IMPS payment, my money will be transferred instantly within seconds from my account to another account. So these are the various e-banking services that a bank provides, that is ATM, credit card, debit card, IMPS, RTGS, NEFT, and net banking. So by this we have come to the end of the chapter number 4 and banking services, and we are done with all the 5 banking services, all the 5 business services with this topic. Thank you so much.